everyone, welcome back to episode 6 of Grief, Cuts and Grace. We've started calling it 3G because all of the G's is a lot to remember to say in that specific order, and sometimes even we get it scrambled up, so we're just going with 3G at this point. So today we're going to talk about moving forward after the death of our spouses and exploring emotional healing.
So what we've discovered, we both grieve really different. It's very personal. It's how we've grown up. It's how we do things differently. It's how we've just been taught how to regulate yourself, and it's not a linear process. Like last week, I was very sad out of nowhere, but then 2 days later, I was fine again. So we know it's never gonna be okay, right? So today is the 24th. It's the day that Ryan died. Today I'm gonna feel sad. It's never the same. It's a song, a smell, whatever. So it's never linear. And then moving on does not mean forgetting. Because every day you wake up and realize and know the person is no longer here. But moving forward is realizing that you can still be happy and sad at the same time. Like joy and grief can coexist in everything that we do.
Yeah, and in saying that, obviously, we have our joyful moments, and even in those moments you feel sad because you remember or you kind of long for what could have been. As much as you are happy for in that moment, there's some things that just happen and then you think, oh, I wish I could have shared that with Sergio. I wish he was here to see it. But it doesn't take away from the joy. It just taints it a little bit. It does taint it. But again, like Zaida said, it's not a linear process. It's not, clean cut, and it's not sunshine and roses all the time. In episode 5, when we ended off, we kind of alluded to just how crazy the idea is of dating in a situation where we,
bringing someone home in this guilty.
but like even just dating, right, or taking time away from your children to go and do something other than be with your children. Even with that, there's this, this guilt when we go just the two of us, or just friends, or anything outside of where it's the kids and you. So we want to talk more about like parenting as a widow, or widower. We can't speak for the men. We can only speak from our point of view, and then adding dating to the mix, or someone else, a guy specifically in our cases. We want to talk about how we've tackled that, or how our thought process was in tackling that, and it's, without a doubt, it's something that we've thought about. It's something that we actively think about, because you must remember when our husbands passed away, there was no lack of love there. There was someone that we were pouring out into, and it's almost like a reservoir that just like fills up every day, and then you have to let it out. You let it out on your spouse, and then when that person is no longer there, this reservoir just fills up and fills up and fills up, and you can see it's like starting to boil over and flow over. And what do you do? What do you do with all of those feelings? In my case, like, I had a very affectionate relationship with my husband. We literally were all over each other all of the time. So, and even when he was on his deathbed, he said some things to me that like really made me still giggle and get butterflies in my stomach, which was, it didn't, the desire for that didn't disappear because he died. And I'm gonna say that when I was married, obviously those feelings were exclusively for him. But then now I'm just feeling like, I need to pour out from that reservoir. I want to love on someone, I want to pour out on someone. And so I've had that conversation with my children. And it was a hard conversation to have because you sort of have to, you know, mind your P's and Q's and not say anything that's confusing or hurtful. And again, I mean, I imagine that in a divorce situation, it's hard in a different way because the person still exists, still walks and breathes and lives, and you have to try to build a life outside of this person while this person still exists. And whatever the dynamic was there, it's very different to when your person is actually gone from this earth and you have no one to pour it out on. And there's also not that like jealousy factor, I guess. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but like, he's not a threat to anyone. He's not a threat to anyone, and he doesn't pose a threat. But he is, because as much as you say that, like, okay, so if the person is still alive, someone else can come along and say, oh, but I don't want to live in the shadow of your ex. In this case, I mean, I just feel like the person will have no choice but to live in the shadow of my ex's pictures on the
Not
wall.
ex.
But you know, the previous, your person.
And I don't like when
your
people
previous
say,
person. And I don't even know how to say it. How to say it in a way that's less insensitive or whatever. I still refer to him as my husband. And maybe I need to change the way that I speak, because when I say to people my husband, they just assume that my husband is living, breathing, and very much existing. But yeah, and again, it's not, I'm not expecting anybody to live in his shadow, but I think it's a very, you know, real, it's a reality. He didn't leave. He didn't leave me. There was no bad blood between the two of us. I still love him with my whole heart and my soul. But it's time, you know, it's time to let go of that part of who I was, a wife, his wife. But I don't know what that looks like. And like I said, I've had a conversation with my children. I know that it's not easy for everyone to maybe have that conversation. It wasn't an easy conversation, but I did. And it made things a little bit more complicated and put a lot of pressure on me to be a certain type of way. But I'm also glad that I had that conversation with him.
So, in my case, when Ryan died, and you will hear that I never say my husband. I always say Ryan, because it's a person, or he was my person, but I don't like to use the term husband. So anyway, so before he died, I used to be like, I'm never going to date again, this is it. I am not. And then he died suddenly, and I sang that tune for a very long time. I'm not interested. I had the best relationship, and no, I don't know if I'll ever do it again. So I was very happy to be locked down for 2 years. 2 whole years, I locked us in, and I was, nope, I'm not going to do this. And then somehow something changed after 2 years. I think it more came with the fact of accepting that he's gone and not waiting for the garage door to open and he's going to come from wherever he was. And then the loneliness kicked in, and I was like, how do you fill this? How do you fill this space? Sitting on the couch all alone. And I think that's when I felt like I can't do the next 40, 50 years of my life alone. And then, yeah, so that's my story, like a bit of it. I had a conversation with the kids to say that I'm no longer daddy's wife, and I need you to know that at some point I'm going to bring home someone, maybe someone's, but I am not going to be alone forever. which was, it was not as tough as what I thought it would be, because there wasn't anyone in particular that I was planning to bring along. So there wasn't the pressure of, I'm having this conversation because someone is coming, to meet the kids. But it was more having the conversation so that they are aware that I'm going to be going out more, or I'm going to be meeting people, and that, because for a long time Alyssa used to say, you are daddy's wife, so it took them also a while to realize that, and I had to almost say, I am not, publicly, when daddy died, I lived out our vows. So that was explaining in that sense, and also that I can't do it alone. Eventually I'd like to have someone. So that was, it was interesting. I mean, now we'll still chat about it, and they'll say, Mommy, he must be like this. But I mean, it's all for fun. But the idea, the fact that they open to it, is a good thing, because at some point there might be someone coming, but yeah, so as long as they are open to it, my family, I think the hardest conversation was with my mommy, telling her that I'm chatting to a guy, and her thing was more just a safety thing, like just be careful, there is weirdos out there and whatever. But yeah, so most people in my life know that I'm in this process of finding someone, but it's still, it's a journey. It's another moving forward journey that, yeah, learnings
Yeah.
and
I mean, I think the most important part for me was having open communication with my children about it. As difficult as it is to now involve children in something like this. Just remember when you're dating and you're young, you don't answer to children. You're not the only person that you really answering to and making sure that you don't get caught out by or your parents. And now in this case, it's not even a matter of being caught out. It's a matter of like just being super sensitive to all the little hearts that are involved. So it started with, just the kids were on the couch, the little ones were on the couch, and Caitlin was out with her boyfriend, and I sat there the one day and I just thought, wow, they're so independent and they don't need me for anything, and I'm very much like my love language, or all the love languages is my love language. But it's very important to me to do for my person, whether it be through touch, or whether it be cooking, or just spending quality time and showing affection and that sort of thing. But I was just like sitting there with all of these feelings trapped inside of me, and I was literally overwhelming my children with all of these things. My middle child is like a non-affectionate. She's a bit introverted, and she's not very like touchy-feely. She doesn't like just unsolicited hugs and that sort of thing. Obviously when they're coming from me, it's different. Maybe it's not different. I think I just force myself. I just force her to give me a hug. I'll just walk up to her and hug me, and sometimes she can be awkward about it. But I think in the beginning she was sort of like just more of letting me get it out of my system out of pity for me, because she knew that I needed to do that. And then my son is a lot more affectionate, and my oldest is sort of past that phase where we hug, and we still do hug. We still hug, and we say I love you and that sort of thing. It's not like there's completely no emotion or lack of emotion or affection or whatever, but it's really just on their terms. And then the one day Nakia was saying to me, Mommy, you're so needy. You're so needy, like you always want to hug, and I don't always feel like hugging, and I really just think that you like should start dating. And this is how it started. They were the ones that actually brought it up with me. They said, Mommy, maybe you should start dating. And then when Nakia said that, Noah was like, yeah, maybe you should go on the Tinder. I thought it was so cute. And I was like, you know, my only impression of Tinder was all the bad stories you heard about it during its teething phases where, you know, people were getting harassed and all sorts of things. And as far as I was concerned, like dating apps was really like first world kind of things, and we just weren't there in terms of technology and safety, and I just had no faith in the system. Also, I had no need to navigate the system until you know that moment when they brought it up with me. So you know, I sort of joked with them about it, and I said, "What would I do on the Tinder?" And then Noah said, well, you could just find like a new husband. And that's how simple they thought the process was going to be. Like they literally said,
Find the shop.
yeah, just go to the buy. And then, you know, just shop for a new husband on Tinder.
Yeah.
And then I sort of had like a semi-serious conversation with him, and I said, but that's not how it works. Like you don't just go on an app and then fall in love and then get married. You know, you have to build relationships. I went through all the details with him. But for them it was pretty clean cut, like, why are you waiting? Just do it. And I sort of ummed and ahed about it, and I, you know, toyed with the idea of it, and I think, you know, months went by, and then someone else, a family member actually said that, you know, she was having good results on an app called Bumble. And I was like, okay, well, you know, let me give it a shot. And I downloaded Bumble. And I downloaded it the night. And I remember I was high on my sleep medication. And so I downloaded it, and I knew that I was going to catch on poorly. So I didn't want to like touch it until the next morning. I created a profile and everything, but I wasn't going to go in and look and, you know, figure it out. I didn't want to like on somebody that I wasn't supposed to like on or whatever. So I just left it, and then before I went to work the next morning, my phone was unlocked on the counter, and I think I remember telling you, the app was unlocked, my phone was unlocked, and the app was live on the home screen, and Noah walked past my phone, and he said, oh, before I actually didn't just download Bumble. I wasn't sure what the app was. I just went like dating app on the Apple Store, and I downloaded all of the.
Sure. Feels like a lifetime ago.
You know, and this is This was last year.
Yeah.
This was last year, July.
This is a year ago.
Yeah. So I downloaded all of the dating apps, and then some of them say dating app on the front, on the icon. Anyway. And that's how much I know about technology. But anyway, so on the icon it said dating app, and then there was like 6 new apps or something. But I had only, because my cousin told me about Bumble, I only like created a profile on Bumble. But as Noah walked past my phone, he said, sure, Mommy, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, what? He says, you have all of these. You went on the dating apps. I was like, no boy, it's just games. Like I felt so embarrassed. Oh goodness, I felt like I was caught out, and he was the one that even said, well, the two of them. Anyway, long and the short of it is, I went onto my phone, I deleted. I said to him, look boy, I'm deleting all of it. So I deleted all of those icons, but then on the Bumble app, because I had created a profile, there was already like so many notifications on it, and I remember thinking, oh shit, I can't delete this. I'm curious now. So it really spurred my curiosity about it, and I locked my phone, and you know, I did the school run, and I got to work, and this thing was just like bugging me, open the app. So eventually I did, and I opened the app foolishly while I was walking down the passage to greet all of my colleagues, and I stopped at the one colleague's door, and she looked at me and she said, why do you have a naughty look on your face? And I was like, crap, I can't even hide it, because I'm like just way more out on my sleeve. I'm just always the same. So she looked at me and she said, you're doing something, what are you doing? I said, I did this thing now, and I explained to her what I had done. And I said, I don't know how these apps work, and I'm scared to just like click on something and then I do something wrong. So she said, okay, let me go through it with you. And then we did. And there was like 100 odd likes, and this was overnight, and I thought, surely this is a scam. Surely this can't be real. I mean, these people don't even know me. Are they gonna like me? And they don't even know me. They've never met me. Like, what if my breath smells or my feet stink, or like, why are people so superficial? But that's how it works, and I obviously found out later on that it is all very
A
superficial.
year later, you do know better.
Yeah, I know, but I don't have any apps, by the way. Definitely, you know, you live and you learn, and when you know better, you do better.
Is it?
Yes, no, 100%. So, anyway, I had this app, you know, matched up with someone who was an acquaintance of someone, or my colleague, and I figured, she vouched for the person. She basically said, well, no, I know this person is a real person, it's not a scam, whatever. And then, you know, I liked the person back, and we sort of had a conversation throughout that day, and by the end of that day, I had landed my first date. It was scary, it was new, it felt wrong, I felt hot and stressed the whole day. I was like, okay, but I'm gonna do this. And then you know, this person asked me to meet up that same evening, and we did, and we ended up having a date that was like 3 hours long, and it was fun. It really felt it. I went in thinking like, just treat this like a networking, like a work networking situation. And like I say, I mean, we had a conversation for 3 hours. I did share my location with my colleague, so that she knew where I was.
Yeah,
all
we
the
weren't
time.
friends at that time.
Yeah, no. You know, my colleague followed me on the location until I eventually let her know that I was home safely. And then, you know, this person and I were in contact. And I mean, I can't say that it was a bad experience. It was a really good experience. It was an eye-opening experience. And it had its good and its bad. But I'm happy to say that today I'm still friends with that person. And I consider him to be a really good friend. It's been a year now. He's not given me a reason to think of him as less than a friend. But there definitely were times that I fantasized about it being more than a friendship. And I think that's where it's difficult, because you come into the dating experience, and I think maybe I just expected something different because I come from a different time, you know, where dating was a lot more simple. You met people organically, and then, you know, I mean, I think you were just more invested, yes.
Yeah.
Nothing was so cloak and dagger. It's very cloak and dagger. I feel like, you know, people are guarded with their hearts, and it's not like we're 18, 19, 20 and, you know, just like living la vida loca. We actually are serious about life at this stage in our lives, and
we have lives.
yeah, and that's the difficult part, is because I have a whole life that preceded this person. That person had a whole life that preceded me, and with that life came a lot of hurt and disappointments, and you know, but it also sparked a lot of curiosity, and you can definitely explore those curiosities with someone in a safe space and whatever. But at the end of the day, all of the insecurities and the hurts and the concerns and the hopes for the future, that all come into play, and that's when things get really complicated. But like I said, I mean, I can't say that I have bad feelings towards this person, and I'm actually really grateful that you know, I got to see that side of what it would look like. And I think he definitely opened me up to think about what I want and what I don't want and what I need, and who I actually want to share my life, my children, my home with. So yeah.
Okay, so my experience when I was now ready to explore something wasn't from an app. It was someone from the past that I actually reached out to, and it was weird because the last person I flirted with was my husband. Um, so it was hella weird, super awkward, um, but it was interesting. I sent a DM and
On Facebook?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, I sent a message knowing that the person was divorced for a while. Um, from what I could see, wasn't seeing anymore, but it was genuinely like, hi, how you? It would be nice to catch up, type of thing. Um,
And was this you reaching out like thinking that you could spark a relationship, or did this just stem from I'm bored, all my friends have now, jumped ship, and I just want somebody to spend time with or like talk to someone?
so this was someone that high school days you had a fling with, and it was always someone that would come up on my feed. You know, that one person that always just somehow comes up on your feed and like, okay, let's see, you know. I'm available, you're available. Let's just like,
No harm, no foul.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it's strange because he had checked into an event that we were at, and then I messaged to say, oh, it would have been so nice to see you, you know, because somehow again his feet would come up, so it's not like I didn't know what was happening. And then like a week goes by, and I'm like, but I really, let's see. So I say, how does one walk into you, you know? So he says, no. And we end up talking on Messenger for a while, and then he's like, okay, send me your WhatsApp number, blah, blah, blah. So then we started chatting. He wasn't available for like a few weekends, which, okay, fine. But in this day and age, like, I didn't know what any of it meant. I mean, Ryan didn't send me good morning stuff, you know, it was weird. So it was nice that someone was giving you attention, but it was also weird. Like, it felt nice, but it was still weird. And then eventually we meet up, and it was nice because it was like a friend. It was a guy I knew. It was fun. It was, it was a good time, and we still spoke for a while after that. And yeah, so basically it was someone I knew that I decided to, okay, let's start here. In hindsight, I don't know if I should have, but it was the easiest to go, back in the day to something that was familiar. But I learned so much from that experience, and I mean, we don't necessarily talk, but I don't have bad blood. And I know if I should message, you'll, because we okay. But like it taught me so much about what I want, what I don't want, what all of it means. It's just, yeah, opened my eyes to so much. But again, because I'm a research person, I'm going to find anything and everything to read about this new world, because for 20 years I was with Ryan and that's it. So my perception of what, and like you think, we're more or less the same age, so we come from that age. So like my hurt is my husband died and right, oh yeah, I'm stuck in this new world. But again, they've now been through past relationships, married, divorced, cheated on, like they come with their own things. And my thing is, my husband died and my world collapsed, and otherwise I'm good, like my life was good. I didn't have, I mean, our marriage was up and down, but I mean, you don't have anything else. It was a decent, this is, would have 80-year-old died normal,
Yeah.
It was a very sheltered life. It was a sheltered life. Our friend group, we all were married, no one caught on nothing. We had kids that were all more or less, so we lived sheltered lives. So then having to walk into a space where the world is like, man, actually it's a little crazy. And not knowing that, going into it blindly, Like I wish I had known, but I mean a year later, I definitely know better. I think I know better. So I try and
We
do
hope.
better.
We hope that we know better.
So I try and do better.